Welcome back everybody, I'm Crypto Nobes. In today's video I'm going to be going over the market analysis and I'm going to be talking about why you should not be panicking considering how low the market is at the minute. I just want to say thank you for all the recent support my videos has been getting over the past few weeks. Massively appreciated. If you enjoy anything I bring to you, don't forget to comment, subscribe, like. Any feedback is greatly appreciated. Let's jump straight into the video. So if we take a look at the market, it has taken a big hit over the past 2 to 3 days, but I just want to say why we should not panic in this current moment in time. Now, if you've been following the market over the past few days, especially Bitcoin, you will see how we've had such a good start to the year, considering it's been about a 30 or 40% increase since January, which again is incredible. So considering we are having about an 8% pullback, I don't think it's anything to panic about. Again, with the other altcoins, yes, they have been hit harder, but you have got to realise that they have gone up higher than Bitcoin mainly. So for me, the appropriate fallbacks would be for Bitcoin, a maximum of 20%. The other altcoins, a maximum of 40%. Yes, that is a big hit, but that is, in my opinion, that will be the maximum backfire that we will hit. A more realistic approach, in my opinion, I think Bitcoin will hit a maximum of 10% decline. I reckon we'll hit a 10 to 12% decline maximum. And with the other altcoins, I think a more realistic approach is a maximum of 20%. Obviously, some of the other altcoins will take a bigger hit than 20% because they would have increased over 20%. But in my opinion, I think a 10%, 8%, 12% fallback in a market situation like this is completely normal. Now, with Bitcoin, for it to make sense, in my opinion, it has to have these appropriate fallbacks, because if you have a look here, I wasn't in at the start of this market, but if you have a look here, it went sky high without any appropriate fallbacks, and then it dramatically declined. Now, I think with these pullbacks, I think they can mean something. It's one of two things, basically. I'm going to explain. It's rather a free fall, which means that Bitcoin's going to keep going down and down and down, and it's going to keep hitting the resistance points, keep breaking the lower resistance points, or Bitcoin's just going to have about a 12% decline, which, yes, will look bad if you're a trader or you're a short-term holder. But if you are looking at this over a long-term period, this is normal market analysis. Because, for example, I think the Tesla stock recently, that went boom, and it's having its appropriate fallbacks. It could drop dramatically, but I feel like with Tesla, it could have its appropriate fallbacks, and then it will even out a bit more, because if something goes too high too quickly, then it will drop very, very quickly, just as quickly as it rose. So that's something to bear in mind. Do not panic. If you bought some of these coins at high prices and you are trading, then unfortunately, you have to wait. I don't trade, so I wouldn't know. But I think if you are holding, then this is nothing to panic about, because it is a simple case of the market having its appropriate fallbacks. Because if it goes sky high within 2 weeks, then without having any appropriate fallbacks, then it's as simple as the market will have a big black backlash, and it will simply do what it did last time, where it would go from 21 grand to 3 grand in the space of 4 months, I think it was, or something a little longer than that. But for it to be more stable, it has to have these fallbacks. Now, I just want to talk about the more news to do with Bitcoin. Now, even though we are in a downward trend in the market at the moment, I do want to keep the bullishness alive. Here's one reason: more on ramps, liquidity options, why Bitcoin's next bull run will be different. Bitcoin's next bull run will look very different from the last one. In 2017, BTC took the elevator to 20k before following the stairs down to 3k over the course of 12 months. In 2020, as Bitcoin prepares for its halving, followed by another potential price run, the cryptocurrency landscape looks very different. Here's what's improved since 2017. There's more fiat gateways. In 2017, getting funds into crypto, called routing them via the BIOS banks, paying dearly for the privilege, are often waiting days for the transaction to clear. In 2020, most exchanges have inbuilt fiat gateways. This is actually very, very true. I've noticed this. About 5 years ago, if you were investing in cryptocurrency, obviously you would have a lot of money. But if you were trying to invest in cryptocurrency ages ago, it would have been very, very hard to buy it on exchanges, to the point where you probably wouldn't even bothered unless you truly were interested in it. Unfortunately, I wasn't back then. I never even heard of it back then. But if I did, I would be all in. But now it's being accepted across every exchange. As far as I'm aware, the biggest UK trading platform, one of the biggest American trading platforms that aren't crypto based, they even accept Bitcoin now. So it's a case of this is becoming a very, very big deal now, considering we are having a fallback, yes, but in my opinion, this is nothing to get panicky about. It's the appropriate fallbacks for this to stay maintained. Now here's some more bullish news. It's just wonderful news in my opinion. So India's election commission's developing blockchain system for voting. Again, that's big news. China is scrubbing cash notes to stop virus spreading, so it's government paper money won't kill you. I actually saw this on Twitter the other day. Now this was quite interesting. I think the Federal Bank of China or something like that. They have they're keeping their notes in their bank for about 7 days to 14 days. So if there is any infection on the notes, then it has enough time to clear through, which is very, very interesting. Is this another reason why, viruses and other, health reasons, is that another reason why the currency of notes, cash, is that another reason why it will fall? And then we'll move to a digital stage where you won't have to touch. Do you know what I mean? To me, that would make more sense. And here's another one. Bitcoin ATMs grow in number, reaching almost 7,000 in operation around the world. Now, here, this is true, and this is massive. I recently, a few months ago, I went to Amsterdam. Now, I really wanted to go to the Bitcoin ATM just to have a look at it, because I've never seen one before. They have about 3 to 5 in Amsterdam, but unfortunately, I didn't manage to see one. Now, in the UK as well, my friend told me he recently went to Birmingham. He's not interested in Bitcoin at all, but he recently went to Birmingham and he told me that places are accepting Bitcoin now. And I thought, well, there you go. That's big news. Why, if it was a so-called scam, why would they promote it? Why would places accept it, etc., etc.? And now I'm pretty sure about an hour up the road from my local area, I think even that place has a Bitcoin ATM, so I might even go check that out soon, and maybe make a video of that as well, because I'd be very interested to see what the Bitcoin ATMs actually look like in person. I've seen them on videos, but I've never actually seen them in person. But in my opinion, guys, now this is obviously a very bad time. It's not a very bad time in the market. It is just a bit of a down time in the market, let's just say. We have been cut short of this very slight bull run. But again, as I said before, the market needs to have these appropriate fallbacks for it to stay sustainable, for it to stay a reliable market, in my opinion. Because if it goes to the moon within the space of a week, then it's going to hit the ground just as hard, just as quickly even. So for Bitcoin to go up, as well as the other cryptocurrencies, for them to go up 40 to 60 to 80% in the past 2 months, for them to have a 5% to 12% to 20% fallback is nothing to worry about, in my opinion. If you are a trader, you would know that maybe now isn't a good time to get into it, because you are holding it over a short period of time. But if you are a long-term investor, or you're expecting to hold it for at least a year or maybe longer, then now is a brilliant opportunity to buy. It could go down further, don't get me wrong, it could go down further, but at this point, the market is doing what I think it's supposed to do, and I'm going to show you more reasons why I think it should do what it's doing, what it's supposed to do. Now, I just want to show you a couple tweets from 2 very reliable sources, and they're very, very big Bitcoin advocates at the minute. They have been for a while, actually. This is Plan B. I've talked about them quite a few times in my last videos. I just want to point this one out. US following the lead of Turkey and Iran, trying to stop people moving their wealth from inflated fiat currency to hard assets like Bitcoin, probably shutting down the internet soon, all in the name of national security, of course. That would be interesting if that happens, because that would be a worldwide panic if that happened. Here's the thing that he showed. Now, what he said was, ignore the noise, focus on the signal. Now, what the noise is at the minute is everyone's going crazy. It's Bitcoin's going down, everyone's panicking. But here, so far, it's still on course, guys. So, again, this is it's a predicted model, but it's very, very accurate. Unless it doesn't, in the next 5 to 8 months, it doesn't show that it's any more accurate anymore, then it is a failed model. But so far, it is not a failed model, and this is what a lot of people are using as guidance. And in my opinion, I look forward to looking at this, because it does keep the faith in it a little bit, because as you can see here, that is the spike we are supposed to have to make it go to 100,000, and that won't happen until 2021 in my opinion. Here, this is the place, this is the halving, I think it will be. The halving part will be here, and then we'll spike. Then we'll spike, and we'll see what happens. But it will depend on what happens. I also want to show you this one. This is from another big Bitcoin advocate. The number one rule in each industry: finance, buy low, sell high. Tech, build things people want. Sports, if you're not first, you're last. Music, entertain the crowd. Business, make more than you spend. Easy rules to understand, hard to execute. And he also tweeted here, the Bitcoin halving is not priced in, which again I agree with, because if the Bitcoin halving is in May and it is currently having its appropriate fallback, I think now's a good time to have it. We have about 2 to 3 months left until May, until the Bitcoin halving. When I think if we have the appropriate fallbacks, then if the month before, if this recovers nicely, then we will see the sky. I think that is the case that will happen. I think we will see the sky as long as the market can have these appropriate fallbacks. So guys, do not panic. Keep the faith. Stay patient. Just remember, Bitcoin went to $3,000. If you were invested, if you got invested late and you invested into Bitcoin when it was going down all the way to 3,000, you will realize now that you have been through the hardest part of it. There is nothing, it cannot get any harder than what we've already been through. I invested, not personally in Bitcoin, but the other cryptocurrencies before the drop, but during the drop actually. I got in at an okay price in my opinion. But here's the thing, we've been through the worst of it. And now that we've been through the worst of it, what can happen? Yes, it could go back to that stage, but here's the thing, if we've already been through the worst of what is happened, aka that famous winter of cryptocurrencies, then in my opinion, if you manage to stick through it, if you manage to ride it out to this far, if you manage to hold on this far, then the only thing that is stopping us now is patience, yes, but I don't think it's going to get any harder from this point. I think now we started getting excited again. If you're new to cryptocurrency, you would have been investing it at the good opportunities. If you're a veteran cryptocurrency investor, you would have been buying at the perfect opportunities. And here's the thing, if you're buying now, that's better than about 95% of the rest of the world, purely because the rest of the world is not invested in it. They don't believe in it. And I can't keep saying when, but because I believe in it, I keep saying when. But if it does come into the play, then we will be ahead of 95, if not 90% of the rest of the world, because they will not be brought into it. In my opinion, this is what's going to happen. 2020 is going to be the year where you have all the big companies come into it. You're going to have Apple, you're going to have Samsung, you're going to have all the big tech companies looking at it, aka bringing it into their play. After that, what I think will happen is 2021, when Bitcoin is supposed to spike to 100,000. That's when I think the rest of the world will be introduced into Bitcoin. So here's what I think. 2020 is going to be the year where you have Starbucks, you have all the big companies. The companies, not the people. We're already early, so we don't count. But I reckon the big money is going to come from rather the big institutional investors, or the big companies. And once they get the money in, that's going to draw a lot of attention to it. And then I reckon 2021, which is when the people will be brought into it, that's when the remaining, however, 80% of the world will then, every man and his dog will know about Bitcoin. And then that's when, in my opinion, that's when it will be time to cash out, or time to hold on, because it will be blowing up to the moon. But if you've enjoyed anything I brought to you, I know I've been ranting a little bit in this video, but I just wanted to explain why you guys should not be panicking in this current market situation, because in my opinion, it is bad, yes, but it has been worse, and it is appropriate for the fallbacks to happen, because if it didn't have these appropriate fallbacks, then I think you'd be seeing a lot higher numbers than 3%, 7%, 9%, 12%. I think you'd be seeing 30%, 40%, maybe up to 70, 80%, which we would not want to see at all, in my opinion. So just remember that these are appropriate fallbacks, in my opinion. If it goes down a little more, just do not panic. Do not panic sell, because that is the worst thing you could possibly do for yourself, is panic selling. So guys, if you've enjoyed anything, if you've learned anything, if you've had some reassurance that you were a bit panicky, because over the past few days, I know I've been a tad panicky, but I've just been reassuring myself, the knowledge that I've learned over the past few years, not to panic. This is all appropriate. This is the biggest amount of attention it's ever had since it's been around. So guys, if you've taken any value from this video, don't forget to subscribe, don't forget to like, don't forget to comment. Thank you for watching. I'll be bringing out more videos. Peace.